I never know what these songs are what they're gonna be playing on Zydeco. So, oh well. Out of here. Hey everybody. Okay, y'all know I like to be silly, and I like Zydeco. It reminds me of my brother when he was down in Refugio, Texas, playing it all the time while he was sitting out there, on a barbecue pit as tall as I was. So that brings back good memories because let's see, July 10th of this year, he was, my goodness, that's been about 16 years. It doesn't seem that long. It seemed like it was just yesterday. But anyway, welcome to It's TTT, y'all. This is the time that I get to interview some cool, really cool people. Yes, Sarita, he's Matthew S. Manning is coming on, so stay tuned. Where I get to have cool people tell their stories. And my desire and prayer is that they will encourage, educate, inspire, and inform people of things that they may have needed, that they needed to know. And tonight is no different. I have this cool young man that I have not met, but after one show, I got this message and it said, I have to interview him. And usually I'm not that good when somebody says I have to, because I'm a Scorpio and I'm stubborn and all of that stuff. But after finding out he was an attorney, and y'all know, full disclosure, I'm a wannabe attorney, okay? And it just didn't work out in my life. So I am jealous and proud of all of our young people who have become attorneys, but I still get to argue my point sometimes, depending on what it is. I get to argue my point, okay? So tonight, we are going to talk to Mr. Matthew S. Manning, and I am going to bring him on, and I'm going to let him, he's going to introduce himself. I'm going to ask him all those questions. Okay, I'm going to ask him all the questions. He's going to introduce himself, but I guess he has a fan club on here already, so we're just going to have to see how this goes tonight. Hey, Mr. Matthew, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing, Gloria?
I'm good. I see. Do you know Sarita? No?
I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her in person, but I know many of her family. And like you, Gloria, I feel like she's family. I feel like she's another auntie of mine, as I feel the same vibes from you. So I'm glad to be among family too.
Well, good. I'm glad that, hey, that means we good people. That's what I always say. We good people. We hang around good people. And yes, Sarita's family is wonderful. I played in the trombone section with one of her brothers in Refugio High School. So that's how we came to know each other. We're from the same hometown. So it's all good. So welcome to It's TTT, y'all. So you can tell us all about you, Mr. Manning. I guess we'll start with, okay, where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? Were you an only child?
Okay. All right. So I was born and raised in the true 512, not the number y'all used to have down here, but up the road in Austin. My parents met as undergrads at UT Austin and then made Austin their home. So my kid sister and I were born and raised there in the beautiful city of Austin, which is a little different these days than it was when I was growing up a few years ago, because the city has expanded, beyond comprehension. But notwithstanding that, I was born and raised in Austin. I graduated high school in 2004. And once I graduated, I was blessed to have the opportunity to attend Howard University in DC for my undergrad study.
Cool. So not University of Texas.
I want to be a lawyer.
So you couldn't make it. They couldn't make you go to University of Texas? Look, and y'all know I've had issues. It's not Matthew, it's me.
Already having issues. Can you hear me, Gloria?
Yes, I can. So they couldn't convince you to go to University of Texas?
Well, as good parent, let me first say I am so blessed to have the parents that I do. I
Okay.
have always wanted to be them, make them proud, emulate them. So, my father's a pastor. He's actually a pastor of Sweet Home Missionary Baptist Church in Austin, which just turned 150 years old last week. So,
Wow.
and he's been there 15 years. So I say that to say I'm extraordinarily blessed to have them as parents, and they supported my sister and I. I mean, to the point that anything we wanted to do, they were going to support. But they didn't really put pressure on me, and I decided that Howard was the right place for me to seek my degree. And as I was going to tell you before we had issues, my lifelong goal was to become president of the United States. So I thought DC was the place for me to go to school, and I had some formative experiences there. I went in 2004, so that's when Mr. Obama, for instance, gave the famous speech at the DNC, and I'm literally living in DC at that time. So I did my undergrad studies at Howard, which is where I tell people I really grew up. I mean, I learned so much about myself, so much about the world, and then I was blessed to get a full scholarship to the University of Toledo College of Law in Ohio. So I went to Toledo for my law degree. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to keep my scholarship the whole time. So my third year, I went to the Texas Tech School of Law here in Lubbock, Texas, and I did my last year of school there. And then when I graduated, like every person who becomes a lawyer, I sat for the bar, which is actually tomorrow. I have two colleagues taking it, Aaliyah Miller and Chris Charles, of whom I'm so proud. So please send them all your prayers and good energies. But thankfully, I passed the bar the first time, and I got licensed in 2012. And then I moved to Corpus because my first job out of law school was here with the city, and I've lived here since then. So that's how I made my way down to the sparkling city by the sea.
Okay. You must have you turned up somewhere. Okay, so Corpus Christi, you've enjoyed it?
I have, but if I'm honest, which is what I always try to be, Corpus was a big transition for me. Not only the size of the city, because I'd lived in much larger cities, but there's kind of a homogeneity here in some respects. There's an insularity here where people who are from this area have a certain way that I guess they want the city to stay. And I'll say this: I didn't have any negative experiences when I moved here, but it took me a while to kind of find my stride, which is funny because if you know me outside of our little interview here, I'm a very, very hyper social person. And when I moved here, I kind of struggled with finding my way a little bit, but thankfully I had, extraordinary professional experiences, which really broadened, kind of my view on the city. But the interesting thing about Corpus is I think it's on the precipice of really growing into a major potential tourist town. So I think, I'm glad to be here at this time.
Matthew, if they would just do you have me on somewhere? I'm hearing myself echo.
No, I just have you coming through the speakers on my computer.
That's interesting. Okay, I'm hearing myself echo. So anyway, that is if they let it go and become the city. It's amazing to hear you say that, because that's something that I was just so sure of, that at some point they would release the city to be more than what it is, because it has so much potential. And I tell people about it all the time. I think one friend did purchase some property in Port Arthur. Port Aransas. I got my ports wrong. And I was just telling them the property down there, yes, the hurricanes are there, but man, you can get some quality stuff there. And just, if you like the beach and you like the water, that's a wonderful place to be. Yep. And they're missing out on it. I say, and I can say it because I'm not there and I've already been in trouble there, so I can say it there. But the old money wants to keep it. And it's a big divide between those who have money and those that don't. And they're keeping it like that. But I love when Nelda, I haven't been there since Nelda Martinez was the mayor, and she was very open-minded and wanting to, make things happen. But it's just so much pressure against keeping Corpus as Corpus. And so,
yeah. I would say the new mayor and the new city council and city manager are all very progressive in their mindset for wanting to grow Corpus Christi. And for instance, we have an extraordinary young person about my age who's managing the downtown management district, and
Cool.
she's really broadening the horizons of what's going on. So Corpus has a lot of potential, but I think you find that in a lot of places, and frankly, that's what happened in my beloved Austin as well. Is there was just a reticence to grow with the trend that was happening. And then it got to the point where it was unwieldy, which is why Austin isn't in some of the state it is now. And Corpus, I think, is a little different in its makeup, but I think there's that same reticence to grow. So
it's a Texas thing, I think, because they're doing the bridge in Corpus now, which is going to be good because it's going to allow the larger ships to come through, and it's going to open up a whole new thing for them. And then when I was there, they were talking about doing some expansion on the airport, which was going to allow, additional international flights and stuff. So hopefully they keep moving forward. I would love to see it grow like that. That would be.
May I interrupt you real quick, though?
Sure.
So the bridge is a problem for me because the bridge, as we see, is emblematic of the gentrification we're seeing across the United States. And to keep it very short, I have a real bone to pick with the bridge. Now, granted, it's 5 years late, or rather 6 years late. But, when they were choosing the bridge site, they chose to raise the predominantly Black community in Corpus Christi, the Hillcrest and Washington Coles area. And my understanding is they didn't have to do that. And that's not only a culturally rich, but just a really indelible part or important part of this community. And it's being raised now. People are having to move out. They had to do a whole voluntary relocation program. I say all of that to say, I'm incensed, frankly, that was the site that was chosen and that the people there were just casualties of a larger policy that didn't include them in the perpetuation of their community. So I have an issue with that. I think that industry is important. I think that, the community should foster industry, but I think it should foster industry secondarily after it fosters the people of the community. And what they need. And I think it's extremely problematic that we're watching a bridge go up in a historic community where it didn't have to go up. So if you knew my comments outside of this, you'd know that I've been pretty vocal about this issue. And I think it's extremely problematic.
I don't disagree with you. Let me see how I can say this. Remember I said I wish you were there when I needed an attorney. Were not at the time that I was there, a lot of people who would stand up, who looked like you and I relative to stuff. I know Lamont Taylor did a lot of fighting relative to it and some others, but there were just not, I'll tell you off the air, but anyway, it was just, and I didn't know now, in all true honesty, I didn't know there was another option. Okay, I didn't know that, but I did feel, because I'm very familiar with Hillcrest and all of that area. I'm very familiar with it, but I did not know that they had another option, and I had left when some of it, began, etc. So I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm not disagreeing with you at all relative to the bridge, because. And in talking to some of the people, they have offered them absolutely nothing relative to it, to have this coming in as something that's going to build the economy in Corpus Christi. They did not do the people well.
If I may, Gloria, let's get down to brass tacks. They're not going to do this in Kings Crossing. They aren't going to do it in the Lakes. They're not going to do it in what is the new Rancho Vista, I think is the subdivision. They aren't going to do that, because there's a political toll to pay for doing that. There is also one in Hillcrest, Washington Coles, but it is not as high a price to pay in their estimation. And therefore, the people who have lived there, the people whose families have had property for generations, have to lose that or decide to stay in a virtually uninhabitable area where they may have issues selling their property down the road, all so that money can be made on their backs. Yeah. And we know that is unfortunately a narrative that has driven our country and one that is being perpetuated in a little different way now. But I think when we talk about the bridge, we have to be candid about that fact.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm done.
Okay. We're going to get back to Matthew Mack. Well, we're on it. Hey, it's reality. I don't have a problem with it. It's reality. And like
Right.
I said, I have other things, so you'll stay on after the broadcast. I'll tell you some of those. But so you went to Howard, and then you got scholarship. You came back. You did Texas Tech, and you went to Corpus Christi. You were working with the city there. Are you still with the city there?
No, I'm not. No, so it's funny, I've had 5 jobs as a lawyer.
Okay.
The first 2 of which I applied for, the last 3 of which have been offered to me. And that's a testimony in and of itself. But the first one, I worked for the city for about 9 months, and then I transitioned to the DA's office. I was at the DA's office for a year and a half, and then the current DA, Mark Gonzalez, hired me and said, "Man, I want you to come work with me." So I went and did criminal defense work for about 2 years. And then he got elected, and then he said, "Man, I want you to be my first assistant." And I said, "You're crazy," because people think I'm a little radical. I'm 30 years old. I don't have this on good authority, but I'm pretty positive I'm the first ever Black first assistant in this county, because I don't think any Black person that ever served in that role. And in that role, I took my normal, very ambitious tack, and thankfully we did a lot of really impactful things to the community. Good. We also made a lot of people angry. So, they're pretty divergent thoughts on that. But after about 3 years, my current firm offered me a position with the firm, and I wasn't looking to leave. Mark and I are still extremely close, and I support his administration wholeheartedly, but I'm a family man before anything else. My family is always going to come first. And we had our youngest little ball of joy on the way. So, I got the job offer, and it was just a no-brainer. So I left, and I'm glad I did. I think it was the right time for me to leave in retrospect. I love the DA's office, and I support them. But I've been given an opportunity to grow. And I think in your career, you have to take those opportunities a lot.
Absolutely.
And that one was another one that was offered to me, and it's really been a wonderful decision. So I'm very pleased.
Good. So you're working local. So what area of law are you dealing with at the firm?
So my firm is about 99% personal injury. So we do primarily personal injury. But I'm the odd man out, so I still do some criminal defense, and I also do civil rights work. So one of the things I told my firm is that I really love the opportunity, but if I was going to come on, my passion has long been representing people in civil rights cases. So I have filed one. I've got about 6 or 7 others to file, and that's where I'm trying to be really the expert nationwide. So God willing, relatively soon, in a few years, you'll see me on major cases. So.
Okay, I'm gonna just say it again. You get tired of hearing me. I needed it. I don't know where you was, but I sure didn't.
Yeah. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I wish I would have been.
See, I done got all hot and upset, and God, I have forgiven. Okay, I have forgiven. I just had all. When your mind is going, and you have you see all the potential that's in Corpus, and you have all these ideas and. Okay, anyway, let's go on. So now you were recommended because you do some great volunteer work, I understand. You want to tell us about that? Oh, no, wait. I want to know, when is the baby due?
Oh, he's born. He was born. Our youngest son was born in December of 2019. So he's 18 months and just an absolute maniac, a lovable maniac. Just
Is he a junior or?
No. So all three of our sons are named after what we believe, obviously, to be some of the most iconic people in our history. So our oldest son is Langston, our middle son is Carver, and our youngest son is Rustin, after Bayard Rustin. So no juniors, but big shoes to fill.
All boys. How old is the oldest?
11. The middle is 3, and then the youngest is 18 months. And yeah.
Oh, y'all got a rough house.
Yeah, it's a lot of leg locks and stuff going on, but I
feel sorry for your wife because it's too much testosterone. That's all I had is boys. I feel sorry for her.
No, I'm not just saying
to deal with all of that.
I'm not just saying this because I'm sure she can hear me. She runs everything. No,
yeah,
for her. No,
she wants a girl. She wants a girl.
No, Lawyer, don't you put me out there like that. No, she doesn't. That's her own words. I'm not making this up.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna let that go. But I've been in the house with all guys forever, and it's like Lord, yes. Okay. Look, I forgot my next question, but okay. So your volunteerism. I'm sorry. Yeah, your volunteerism. What is that about? What did tell me what you do?
So honestly, it's I really trace everything back to my parents, with whom I have a wonderful relationship. I'm very blessed. I just saw them doing a lot of things for the community when I was a kid coming up. Things as subtle as, we would go, for instance, we would get season passes to Six Flags every year. And my dad would always invite me to invite a friend.
Oh.
And as a kid, I just thought, oh, yeah, it's cool. My dad wants to bring somebody along. But I realized in retrospect, what he saw was there were some of my friends who didn't have the same opportunities in their homes. They didn't have the same chances to do things. So he was just kind of always imparting on us. They were always imparting on us to be involved in the community. So like a lot of people, I don't deserve a pat on the back for it to be special or anything, but I'm currently on the board at the food bank. I'm also on the board of the Texas Young Lawyers, which is the statewide organization for lawyers under the age of 40. I'm on the local Young Lawyers Association. I try to do as much pro bono work as possible. I tell people I'm a great lawyer, but a bad businessman, because I never want to charge anybody. And, and my firm jokes, my managing partner is like, oh, here, Matt's going to go do this extraordinary legal work and get paid like $300. But honestly, I joke about it, but one of the things that I have always felt is that my law degree is really kind of our law degree, especially Black people, just being frank. 6% of lawyers are Black. So, especially doing criminal defense, there's a lot of gravity to the idea that there's somebody who looks like you representing you. And that doesn't mean I don't represent anyone who's not Black. I mean, the vast majority of my clients are not Black, and I fight just as hard for them as I do anyone else. But I understand that there is an importance with that. And to that end, I want to give you a real quick story. So when I was practicing maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I was in the Nueces County Courthouse, and I was in a suit. And this young kid gets on the elevator, and he's probably, I don't know, 15, 16. And he looks at me, he goes, yo, you a lawyer? I said, yeah. He's like, word? I said, yeah. He said, man, I ain't never seen no Black lawyer. That's crazy. That's what's up. And I thought, man, it's like 2016, and here's a 15-year-old kid who has literally never seen a Black person who's a lawyer.
Wow.
I knew several growing up in Austin, but that's one of many experiences that has cemented to me the importance of representation, both literally and figuratively, and the importance of using your voice for other people. So I've also done things related to the bridge. I obviously wrote an op-ed and went out and yelled at the school board in Refugio. I'm kind of
down there you were helping them get Dixie out?
Well, no, let me say this. They were helping themselves. I jumped in at the last second. So I deserve very little credit.
Good.
But sometimes, what I have done in my career has given me a greater platform in terms of just local media, right? Like I'm the legal analyst for Channel 3.
Cool.
I've done a lot of stuff on the news. So, sometimes I know there will be a camera there, there'll be a reporter there. And if there's some cause that I'm fighting alongside other people, then I try to use a little bit bigger megaphone. And I don't say that to pat myself on the back. I say it because I recognize that I get that opportunity. So I think it's incumbent on me to use my voice for other people, especially having represented people in criminal defense and doing like appointment work, which is where they don't pay you privately. You get, put on the case. I tell people, but for the grace of God, we're all one bad scenario away from potentially being in a bad situation.
Yes.
So, I feel like there's really a duty to be as involved as possible. Now, Kelsey probably is like, look, you're a little too involved.
Yeah.
How are you going somewhere every day?
Well, it'll slow down later.
Yeah, maybe so. But I really enjoy it, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be involved. And honestly, part of it too is just there's really an inequality in access to legal services, and really, I think high quality legal services. So I can't represent everybody for free. Obviously, I have to put food on my table, but there are times like I helped a young couple, my barber's daughter and her boyfriend are, cream of the crop. She's a teacher. He works at a local refinery. Couldn't be better people, salt of the earth, great family people. They wanted to buy a home that they were already living in. I didn't know, as a licensed attorney, I can do real estate without getting a supplemental, credential. So I researched everything I needed to research, and I helped them buy their home for free. That's because they're the kind of people who put so much good out. I didn't want
Yeah.
them to have to pay thousands of dollars in fees when I could both learn and help them. So those are the kinds of scenarios where I try to make, my interest and community interest dovetail. So.
Well, that's fabulous. And, God bless God. He's not asleep. He sees, and the blessings that return to you will be plenty. And you just went up a notch in my book. You didn't help Refugio out. So, I'm just.
No, they help themselves. I just jump around.
Sometimes when they just hear that there's an attorney there, it makes a difference in the audience that's listening to what they have to say.
Yeah, and and I'm gonna let you ask more questions. I know I talk a lot. So like you should never.
It's about you.
Never bring a lawyer on your show, but I noticed in that first op-ed I wrote that the response was so, major. There were people who were opponents of what I said, people who were proponents. But the main thing I noticed from people is that they just appreciated not only that someone outside of their community cared, but they appreciated that someone spoke in full voice, not just like, please get rid of Dixie. No. I call y'all out. I have big problems with this. Is 2020, and you mean to tell me we're talking about the thing that is most emblematic of the Confederacy? You want to have kids hearing at a high school football game? And what's crazy is, born and raised in Austin, Hayes High School. When I was in high school in the early 2000s, here'd be a team with like 40% black kids on it. They score a touchdown. They're running down the field to Dixie. In high school, I'm like, wait, hold up. Mm-hmm. How is it brothers have a Confederate flag patch on their, on their uniforms? Like, this is an atrocity. So I was glad to be involved. And I think, sometimes people think of me as a little bit of a rabble rouser, but I like it. I like it because somebody has to call it out. And somebody
has to agitate, okay?
Somebody has to. So, I guess it's going to be me sometimes.
That's okay. People are laughing. My nickname is Sojourner, okay? So I totally understand.
All right.
I totally understand, okay? I was protesting in middle school, okay? I locked myself in the closet and protest in middle school. So that was a long time ago.
I need to learn some things from you then.
But yeah, so, I love the story of the young man in the elevator. That is just, that makes me just want to, almost cry, but I know where you are and I know where you're from and I know why it hasn't happened, in that area. I'm just, I'm thankful that you are there and showing that. And I hope more, will also do that because, quite frankly, a lot of the times when we're from small towns like that, when we, go to school, do whatever, we do leave, and I'm guilty, we do leave, but it just seems like now, and it's really funny because for the last 24 years, I've been traveling around the nation, okay, and I haven't been here to do what I would love to do, relative to the town and all of that. And now since I've been back a few years, I've taken more interest in it to say, okay, what can we do? But that's, you need to get more of those young people to decide that that's what they want to do. Because we do need more attorneys and we need more down there. We need more, examples. And I know role model is a old phrase or whatever, but it's just something that they need to see because there are generations there that have not seen those things. And, it's time for some of that stuff to stop. Yes. I agree. So you on the food bank. So in November, you do you feed, don't you? Mm-hmm.
I have. I did it through the DA's office. I joined last year in October, so I haven't had the opportunity to do it yet. But it's funny you would ask that because the reason I got on the food bank board is I organized the DA's office volunteering there one day, and I was just genuinely struck by the breadth of the operation. But like I told them, like y'all are truly doing the most human work that there is, like the thing that's most emblematic of humanity, which is us giving to each other. It's just a beautiful, simple thing, right?
Yeah.
People need food, we have food. There's There's no complication. So I actually talked to somebody who was connected with the food bank, and they let me know there was a vacancy. And I wrote a long letter saying, like, basically, y'all are dope. Can I please join you? And they're like, come on, you want to do some work? We got you. So
they have a major operation. I can't think of what the name of it is. Sarita might be able to help me, but they have a major operation during Thanksgiving, and it is just because, you know, at that time I was with RTA, and so, you know, it's a major event, and it's just wonderful what they do for, you know, what they do for the community. So let's see. There are some churches in Corpus. Where you go to church?
You know what? I hadn't found a place I've gone consistently. I went to St. Matthew for a while.
Okay.
I'm a musician, so I play keys. And when I was in college, I played at church. But you know, honestly, my career got to the point that it was very difficult for me to continue serving in that capacity. So, but I've been to many of them, including at a lot of community events. So most recently, I was at,
Reverend Reese at St. John. Reverend Reese at St. John, he's kind of a rebel rouser too, so you might like.
Oh yeah, no, I mean there's so many, and really, I mean Reverend Reeves is awesome, but I would say Pastor Adam Carrington, who's the pastor of Brooks Chapel AME.
I don't know Carrington.
He is a dear friend. Him and Claude Axel, who's the pastor of Lord, what is the name of that church? Mount Pilgrim. Mount Pilgrim have really been mentors of mine and just brothers in arms and just good, solid brothers. So I'm glad to have met them and so many other people who pour into me.
Okay, well, great. So how long have you been at the firm?
2 years in December.
2 years. Okay. So what's next? I know, you know, president, but we got to get some elected offices and stuff.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. So I'm actually serving as a treasurer right now for a lawyer that I have had the just so much respect for since I moved here. Her name is Selena Lopez Leon, and this is not about plugging her, but she asked me to be her treasurer because I didn't tell you, you know, my little kind of shtick, if you will, is manning of the people. So it started because when I was at the DA's office, I had a fantasy football team that I called Manning of the People. that I realized though that really was what fueled all of my professional activities. Is I genuinely care about people, but more so than that, I feel like I'm in a position to help them in a specific way. So that is my whole focus. And her campaign is very similar. You know, she wants to be the judge of the people, and I believe she will. So she asked me to join forces with her, and it's really been illuminative for me because I didn't realize the extent to which I have been able to make some inroads in the community, because I know very prominent people who are like, man, I wasn't really aware of her, but I saw your name and I figured if you're there, you know, it must be the real deal. So I say all that to say, I've been approached, I've thought about running, but I gave my word to my firm. I wasn't going to run for office for a while, and I haven't done that. But the bigger thing is, you know, I had a real shift in my life a few years ago where I realized that I always wanted to serve in elected office. But I think a lot of times that's the problem. It's people who want to serve because they want that name on the door. And I've realized now that I think I can be more impactful sometimes without a title because I can't be muzzled, you know? I'm not beholden to an electorate. I'm beholden to whatever's right, you know, period. So, you know, if it's in the plan for my life for me to run for office, which I suspect it probably will be, knowing myself, I'll do it. But right now I'm not chomping at the bit, you know? I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing.
And I agree that, you know, okay, in this day and time, because of the two parties that are here, and I could never do it because I wouldn't be muzzled, and they would probably either kick me out or something, you know, before it's, you know, over. So I've spent my life, you know, advocating, you know, for women and people with disabilities, because I do have a son with a disability. But it is just, when people say that politicians lie, I do believe that some of them do lie. But I think some of them don't understand what they're getting into when they get into it. And then when they decide to do what they said they were going to do, they get pressure to not do. And so it's a lie. And so it's like, no, it'd be a fight. It had to be a fight because I just couldn't. I wouldn't be able to do that.
I think everybody's driven. Unfortunately, I think too many people in politics are driven by self-interest. And that's the problem. You know, we don't have to spend much time on this, but the whole lobbying and the fact that basically if you've got money or influence, you have a bigger seat at the table and a bigger audience is extremely problematic. And, you know, that's the reality of life. But that's a lot of what I wrestle with. I mean, even when I was at the DA's office, I was in probably the most political non-elected position you could be in. And I think I struggled because there are times where I'm supposed to kiss the ring or go along with certain social graces. And I think that's exactly why we don't have the progress we want, because people are kissing rings and doing what you're supposed to do. And I didn't quite do that. So
I'm not a ring kisser.
I struggle with it, you know.
There's stories to be told about my not kissing a ring, but the one thing they could say, I pray about it first. When I was leaving, I ran the bus operations here in Dart before I left in '99 and had been there for 11 years. And my boss was like, when Gloria's made up her mind, she's prayed over it and decided she's going to do it, she's going to do it. So you might as well leave her alone and say, yep, that's about it, because I want to do the right thing. I struggled. I struggled. It was a challenge being a manager, which I love doing and I still love doing it, but I'm just not, I have to go to sleep at night. So there are certain things that I refuse to do. It just, bottom line, I refuse to do. And, you know, I had one guy called my brother, he's a white guy. He's like, Gloria, you have children to take care of. I'm like, hey, the one who's been taking care of me going to take care of me the rest of the time. So, you know, you have to be able to sleep at night. And some of these people, I don't understand how they sleep at night. Some of the things that they do that they know, you know, it's not right. Bottom line, it's not right. You know, so yeah, I feel you on that one. So look, it's not about me. Look, I'm just talking. Okay, so is your sister like you?
No, that's funny. So my sister, my one and only sister, whom I love more than anything in this world, is hilarious, and she's actually an actress and a vocalist in New York City, and she is tearing it up. I think she's going to be a household name before either of us know it.
What's her name? Because my son is a vocalist, and he's in New York City. He works for NYU.
Okay. Her name is Denise Manning.
Denise Manning. Okay.
She's been in a number of shows, but right now she's in a show called What to Send Up When It Goes Down, and it's been getting rave reviews in the New York Times and a number of other publications. So, and she is being singled out in these reviews as having been one of the more, impactful parts of the performance. So I'm incredibly proud of her. But I say she and I are different because I was the ultimate, people pleaser, want to make my parents proud and the whole deal. My sister's like, I'm doing whatever I want to do. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's funny because she's a free spirit in that respect. And I was a lot more regimented. We're both extraordinarily ambitious, as you can probably tell. But I kind of took a little more traditional route. But honestly, as we get older, I find that my sister is transitioning from being my little sister to being one of my most trusted advisors. I mean, her view on life is just a beautiful thing. She's like one of the most beautiful, bubbly, amazing people. Okay. And the more I talk to her, I'm like, man, how did you figure things out before I did? 5 years.
How many years are y'all different?
4.5. She turned 30 last year, and I just turned 35 in May. So
okay, it's not that many. She's
no.
A little close to you. She's a little close.
Yeah, no, she is amazing. I could not be more blessed to have her. I love her dearly.
Okay. So now, is your wife from Corpus?
No, she's from Refugio.
What's her name is?
Her name is Kelsey Linscomb. That's her name.
Linscomb. She's much younger than me, so I probably don't know. Kelsey Linscomb. Okay, I have to investigate. Kelsey, do I know you? No. Well, good. Well, you are good. Look, see, I'm so proud of you. You're just moving up the ladder in my mind. I'm giving you some more.
Look, a few times in my life, I've punched way out of my weight class. This is one of those. And I don't mean in respect to relationships, but she is far better than I deserve. No question.
Okay. Well, if she's from Refugio, she's good. She's good. Now, someone on here, I don't know what this person wants, but they said, can you help people out of state? It depends on what you want. What do you want, Linda Mackins? Look.
Well, and I have thankfully I have a pretty robust nationwide network of lawyers. So I mean it. If you're
They're in
somewhere,
Atlanta. This person is in the
oh,
Atlanta
I
area.
know so many lawyers in Atlanta. So if I
Okay,
can help
I'll find
you,
out. That's my sister, so I'll find out
okay,
what she
okay,
wants and
okay.
see what that is. So Matthew, this has been so much fun. I'm just getting to know you. It's like we sitting down on the couch talking and just so elected office is not left. You're not gonna have a girl. I'm trying to see what else you. So, any surprises or anything you want to tell us is coming up?
Anything that's coming up? No, I don't know about that, but I appreciate you putting me on the spot.
Oh,
No, 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 no. Right. Well, honestly, I mean, all I'm doing right now really is trying to expand professionally. It's interesting though, because I'm in a season that I'm sure we all find ourselves in where I had almost gotten to expert level. So I'm very, very comfortable practicing criminal law. But I mean, anybody who knows me knows that I'm kind of one of the trial guys down here, and I've tried a million big major cases. But I'm in a season right now where I'm really having to grow, and I like that. I like it.
okay. Mm-hmm.
I joke with my partners. I just became a partner about 6 months ago, and I joke with them like, "Am I a lawyer?" Like 3 days a week. I don't even know if I'm a lawyer. I just know to fight, and I know who I'm fighting. But sometimes I'm trying to figure things out, and I like it because it's requiring me to refine my skills, and I think that's important. My oldest son, I feel so bad for him because I realize that I sound like my dad more and more every single day. And I'm always preaching to him the value of pushing yourself and not being complacent. So that's kind of where I am now. But I have a lot of business ideas and other things in terms of practice and
I'm
but
sure there's a book somewhere.
I'm also trying to kick it. Like I spent so much of my years, my few years on earth, really trying to strive for some goal. And especially when I became a father, I realized, like, you know what? The children are far more important than anything else in my life, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. After I had them, I realized that everything else is really secondary because now my job is to make them good men who contribute, good men who take care of their families and the community. So, honestly, it's made things a lot easier because I don't have the same anxiety I did before about accomplishing all these things.
Good.
Instead, I just, want my boys to be geniuses. Don't get me wrong. I want all of them to be like Nobel Peace Prize, Nobel laureates, right?
Well, now you have to develop the personality of each one, and they're all different. Yeah. One of them is going to be like you. One is going to be like your wife, and then one is just going to be out of control. Y'all gonna have to, do everything to keep them in. So just know that going into it, God made them all different with all different personalities.
Well, and I joke
trying to make them all just alike now.
No, I won't. And I think I'm going to take the same approach where I don't want to put any pressure on them. I don't want them to feel like they need to live up to some standard. I want them to be happy. Number one, healthy, well-adjusted, and satisfied with what they're seeking in their lives and what they're putting into the world. But I do want them to be cognitively cut above. So, and they all are. I mean, all three of them are just extraordinary. So,
and you'll have to teach them about, their history because, they're not going to let them teach it in school anymore. So,
I was just at a rally about that this weekend, and you shouldn't have said that because you're going to get me on the soapbox. But my problem with this bill is actually a couple things. Okay? If you got a moment. I
have a moment. Go ahead.
You shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry I'm making an ugly face in the camera, but you knew what you were doing. Look. So the first problem is they passed the House bill, right? And the House bill is going to become law in September. The House bill is already insidious. I mean, it includes things like, check this out. This is one of the worst things. Teachers cannot make it mandatory or give extra credit for students who go to political events. The reason that's a big issue is even when I was in high school, I remember my AP US history teacher saying, hey, there's a rally down at the Capitol. If y'all go down, I'll give you extra credit, right? There are some kids that are not going to be incentivized otherwise to go and get involved. So to literally divest teachers of the ability to make this extra credit or, part and parcel with the class is the kind of thing where you're trying to subtly disenfranchise people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the list that everyone is taking issue with, I also take issue with. But I think that's really a secondary issue. The larger issue is there's a cognitive dissonance with that Senate bill. it purports to want to make students good, civically involved and civically minded people. But what it does, it says not only are you not going to learn about all these things, but your teacher has to try to teach everything from two sides, including things like the Ku Klux Klan. I'm almost done, Gloria. You can time it. Here's the problem.
I have no time limit.
between Reconstruction and 1968, I believe the year was, more than 4,700 people were lynched. Okay, here's the problem. We have a set of universal mores where we generally say something is wrong, right? Mm-hmm. Case in point, murder. You're not going to find any culture where murder is okay. There may be legal justifications for it, but generally speaking, it is beyond the pale, right?
Right.
So you mean to tell me if I'm a teacher, I have an affirmative duty to teach something other than the KKK is morally bankrupt? That is absurd.
You have to justify lynching.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh, and not true. The school teacher has to justify lynching. That they were lynched because they did something wrong, because the white supremacy has said this is wrong, regardless of where it's wrong. It's not wrong in the Bible. It's not wrong wherever. But they said it's wrong, so they had to be lynched. So as a school teacher, you have to explain that.
Look, as a school teacher, they want you to teach Thomas Jefferson, and that Thomas Jefferson, the extraordinary statesman, wrote the Declaration of Independence, wherein he wrote all men are created equal, and then went home and raped the enslaved woman he had in his custody more than 6 times, with whom he had 6 children, right? Explain to me, Gloria, how I'm supposed to teach the Declaration of Independence, but not teach that this man was writing from a contradictory standpoint. Make it make sense, Gloria, because they don't.
I cannot. The only sense that I'm making, I'm registering as many people as I can to vote to get these folks out of there, because I came back to Texas to make it blue. Okay.
Look,
because
I know you probably get comments right now like, get off this topic because this man is excited.
Oh, no. They know. I this last year that I've been on, I've spent time.
Okay, good.
Giving my thoughts relative. And see, my thing, Dan Patrick, I wrote 20 plus years ago. I wrote a letter on him when he was when he was broadcasting, because he made this derogatory story about, you may not know Ralph Sampson, but Ralph Sampson, who played basketball with you, he made a derogatory, and I wrote on him. And when I came back here and saw he was attorney general, I'm like, well, I just be.
No, he's a lieutenant governor, and you know what's crazy? I didn't know this till the other day. But Dan Patrick was born and raised in Baltimore. You know why that's important? Because Baltimore probably has like one of the starkest contrasts in terms of economic inequality. If you go to the city of Baltimore, people are really struggling financially. You go to the county of Baltimore, it's perennially one of the wealthiest counties. And as you can imagine, the city is predominantly what? Black.
Right. I live there, I know.
Predominantly white. So you mean to tell me a dude from Baltimore who was 18 in 1968 cannot see the value of teaching Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.?
No, he's never. I think that's why he moved to Texas. So,
you better get me riled up. I was trying to be calm right here. No, I can't do it.
Hey, if getting riled up is good. If people are not riled up now, and my experience is that they are. Like I said, I advocate and I work on one of the committees for people with disabilities. And I said, I have never, in all my 30 years of advocating for people with disabilities, seen someone hate another person with a disability so bad. They cannot stand Governor Abbott. They want him out so bad.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
I'm just like, I have never seen anybody, but he does not see himself as a person with a disability,
right?
Because he has the money to make the governor's mansion accessible, etc. Where it's people here can't get in a ramp to go in their house. They're on a waiting list to get. Don't get me started. Okay, so that's gonna be. But yeah, so we have work to do. It's good I'm glad to know that we have people all around that are working on, because it's just crazy. I can't. It's hard to fathom, and I try not to think about it too much because it drives me crazy. And if you have you read Caste yet?
No, I have not.
You have CASTE. Look.
Oh no, I haven't, but I saw. Yeah, I've seen the book.
Gotta read it.
I've seen it.
Hear it. Do like I do. Audible. Unbelievable. She is so on point. Oh my God. I'm talking with the group about that, predominantly white, but we're doing a safe place to talk about race here in my little community. So it's going to be interesting. Pray for me.
No, that's good. We gotta have honest conversations, you
But
know.
we have to talk, right? We have to talk. Okay, well, Matthew, this has been fun. I'm gonna have to bring you on when the political season come around, so you can really.
Look, let me know. The other thing you're gonna have to do is invite me when I'm in Dallas. Let me tell you this though. Don't invite me to your house because I will actually come. You know how people say, "Oh yeah, I'll come by." I will actually come. So
Oh,
when I'm
you
in your
know,
area, let me know and I'll come by, Auntie, because you family
we
now.
have.
Right?
Let me tell you, I don't know if anybody who's on here, but we have the reputation of when you come to our house, you might stay. So you know,
Hey, look,
because my husband and I love to cook,
hey,
and you might get a little sip or something, and then you won't be able to move. The itis will just overtake you.
let me
So,
tell you something. I will take a plate. I'll bring my own foil. I'll bring my own foil to your house.
oh no, we have takeout. We have the nice little takeout things. We're prepared. We have
Let me find out. Okay.
because we know when you come, you're gonna take something with you.
Yeah, I'm with it.
We're already stocked up with our little takeout thing, so we good. We good. And when I come to Corpus again, I'm going to look you up because I have to meet you and meet the boys and meet Kelsey, so I can see. They said I knew Dana and Dana Britt, aka Dana Britt. I know. Okay, she was so little. See, I left at a while. I left after high school. So I've been back and forth a little bit. But anyway.
Well,
Okay.
you know what? She's gonna be mad at me for saying this, but I've been trying to tell her she needs to run for mayor of Refugio at some point because you talk about a person who has done extraordinary things for the community. She has, I mean, after Hurricane Harvey, her and the family really put a lot on their backs, and I was genuinely inspired and impressed by all the work she's done. So I'm always trying to tell her, you need to run for mayor. So maybe one day.
Hey, that's all we need is women. We didn't have enough men, so
hey, women lead.
When it's time, tell her to go ahead. We'll look. I might even move back down to Corpus when it. No, I don't know. I like Dallas. I like my church in Dallas. That's the only. But I did like my church in Corpus, so I can't say that. So I'm okay. Pastor Reeves, I didn't say that, but Tony Evans is my man.
I knew you were gonna say Tony Evans. I knew it in my heart.
Yeah, that's the dude.
That's the man, right?
I've been knowing him and served in the church for a long before I left, and he married us, and then came back, and he's still here. And unfortunately, had some bad things, but he's still the same guy. So he's cool. I love him to death. But anyway, sir, any final words, and then I'll pray for you. And I guess I need to tell them who's going to be on next week because I don't know.
No words beyond. Thank you for this venue. Thank you for this opportunity to talk. I like that you say it's time to talk. And it's so important that we do this more in all communities and that we do it frankly and we do it honestly, because unfortunately we see too much veiled stuff these days. We got to speak to each other frankly, but I love your energy. I got to tell you that. And I really do. I feel like you're another one of my aunties, so hey. I'm not joking. I appreciate you having me on, and I'm just honored that I got to speak with you tonight.
Well, you have my number, and if you end up here in Dallas for any reason, please call me.
I will.
And if you come and you don't call me, I'm going to talk about you when I find out you were here and you didn't call me, okay? I just want you to know that's straight talk.
Let me tell you something. If I come to your house, you might still talk about me. The way this boy ate.
Believe me, look, when you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. But stay on after I go off live, because I did want to say something to you. But okay, y'all, I forgot who's on next week. It's a young lady, and that's all I remember. Sorry, but then that just means y'all have to tune in. So let me pray for you, and then we'll get off of here. Father God, I just thank you for this day. God, I thank you for this conversation. I thank you for the energy that Matthew has brought to the interview. I thank you for what he's doing in my little area or close to my little area down there. God, I just ask that you would bless him and Kelsey and the three boys in all that they endeavor to do, God. God, protect him, them, protect his parents, his sister up in New York. God, we just ask that you just put a bubble of protection around them. And even in this time of COVID and it's ramping back up or whatever it's doing, God, we know that you can protect and you can take care of. So thank you for all the work that he's done. I pray that you order his steps, open his eyes, give him more ideas, and help him help the community help themselves. We ask this and we know this in your name, in your son's name, Jesus. Amen. So y'all, I love y'all. I thank y'all for tuning in tonight to hear Mr. Matthew do all that, make me talk all that bad stuff, but that's all right. Y'all know it ain't the first time. So see you next Monday, 8 p.m. Central, either here or on YouTube. And I love you. And I think y'all gonna have to start wearing y'all's mask again, because they say stuff is Delta, Lambda. They finna go through the whole Greek alphabet. Love y'all.